Ranjit, for such very, very, I would say, generous words. But you were the star of the class. So, yeah. And so we are, Sangeeta and I are joining it today. And Sangeeta is the founder member of Naidisha. And I joined in 2010. And so my background is that I was in the corporate world for almost 20 years. And then when I left, I was looking for something meaningful, and I was very blessed to be uh, kind of directed towards Naidisha. And we were very aligned in our thoughts. And so I joined the group. And so we'll be sharing with you what all we have been doing and what we did last year specifically, because it was a very challenging year, like it was for the whole world. And so, yeah, Sangeeta, would you like to say something? We could have Sangeeta on screen for saying some, introducing herself.
To find her, hold on.
Uh,
You need to unmute too, Sangeeta.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Ranjit, for inviting us. I think it's been long. We've been looking forward to get associated with the Rotary International. And as Mala said, it's only, always you want to do something good to the society, but how it comes in your life, it's amazing. So I'm really blessed to be part of Naidisha, where we thought, and I think it is very aligned with your few lines where you have written that Rotary offer a way to connect for everyone who wants to at any time and will continue to do so. So same like this, we opened a platform for children who were deprived of their childhood and education. Because as you know, we are in Delhi, it is the capital of India, and lots of people from the neighborhood cities come here to earn. And when they come here in city to earn, it is very challenging. They come in parts. Like first the male member will come, then if he's settling down, then he'll get his wife and maybe one child, and he'll leave few children behind with his mom or with the relatives. And then once he's settled completely, then he'll get other children. So these are the children who are not able to fit into regular schools. And there's a huge learning gap. So when Naidisha, just with this thought that whoever is there, if he's willing to study, we will help that child to go ahead. Whatever challenges are there for him, that we'll just fill up those challenges. So it is all need based. Whatever needs is there for that child, particular, Naidisha organically evolved over the years. So even whatever years are there, and like suppose the last year was very challenging. And I think, I don't know if we are just sharing the presentation or like how to go about it.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. Do you want me to start with the one about the school itself, or should I start with the one about the? Let's start with the one about the school and then move to the. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the other one.
Yeah, you want to start?
Ranjit?
You want? Okay. Let me start with the other one. Okay. Sorry.
Mala, we'll go with the COVID one.
No, we'll do
No,
the
we'll
other
start
one
with.
first.
I'll just start with the other one. Yeah.
To give a background of
second.
what Naidisha
Sure.
does and then what we did last year.
Oh, sorry. I keep coming back to the same one. Here, 1 second. Stop share. Give me 1 second. No.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes.
This is correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Sorry, go ahead. And just let me know when you want me to move forward.
No, it's gone back to the wrong.
It's gone back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'll close that. Let me close this one. And then if it's not open, it can't come up.
That, Ranjit, I can show from my end if you want. Or is it okay?
Not a problem. Just
okay.
Here we go. Got it now. This time it is going to work. And
Yeah.
here we go. Perfect. Go ahead.
Yes. So Nai Disha is an educational and cultural society, and we started informally from year 2000. And when me and one of my other friends, Savita, we started a play school. It's beautiful story behind that. But that how one of you will say, ki, how come it come to this cause? So me and my friend were started a play school, and the child came for admission from the construction site, and his parents said, I want to put this child in your school. And it was very hard for us to say no to that particular child, because you feel that, okay, people like you and me will say that we don't want our children to be with the poor child. So we thought, okay, let's have a play school for less privileged children in afternoon time. That way we started in the name of Disha that time, with 12 children, and then slowly and steadily those children grew in numbers. And in 2005, me and my friend decided that somewhere that we all are real with these children. The smile on their faces make us do more and more for them. So that turned our life towards that we both closed our play school and registered our place children
Organization.
which we started for Nai Disha Educational and Cultural Society in 2005. And it started with a play school, and then it was primary school. That time we were giving a good foundation and mainstreaming these children into regular school. So it was like a platform to become independent and responsible citizens of the society, like a holistic education. It was like the way you and me will give to our own children, we thought the same we will be providing to these children too. And even that way, so the program is like we are taking care of education, health and nutrition, and even giving some skill to them. And when we were working with them, then we realized even their mothers needs help. So the women empowerment came. And then even when we are moved to the community, so we are helping the even community to come up with that. So these are the programs through which we are connected with Nai Disha. And when the child comes, he's taken care, like as I said, holistically, that either his physical aspect is taken care or his health is taken care. Because at most of the times, all that these children are under weight. The sorry, there was some call coming here. Sorry.
We can see.
Shall we move
Sangeeta.
this further? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Underway. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but when we were mainstreaming these children, the children who can fit into regular school, the children will be into a system. We never believed to run a parallel system, but there are most of the children who would not able to be fit into regular school. So then we started an open school program where we identify and enlist out of school children, and to bridge their education gap, we have a different path of National Institute of Open School, which help us to just these children can complete their educations. And the children whom we fit into regular schools are taken care by providing them remedial tuitions or whatever support they need. So that way we were like divided into two streams of the children who can't fit into regular school and the children who can fit into regular school. So we have been supporting all together these children. Yeah. Next. So here you'll see the pictures. Computer education is also a very important part because we feel that they should be equipped, and it's a proper curriculum is there for these children. They start in their, even when the children are 8, 10 years and 12 years. Next.
Sorry.
Yeah. It is very hard for the child at times to be a child, it is a very different story for them, because most of the time these children are taking care of their younger ones, and there is, it's a very dark time for them. So whenever they were coming, at times we feel they're quiet, they are not opening up, and at times they're going through the abuse by their alcoholic father, violence at home. So one of our friends initiated this program, that art therapy, which helped these children to just improve or have the freedom of expression. So it is very interesting the way we go through this program of art therapy. Yes. There you'll see the pictures when children are like observing and enjoying themselves, and whatever, it's very wholesome kind of a feeling for them to just be there, because at times they are distracted and they are not able to express their feelings. So it is a medium for them to just express themselves. Yes. In this, every year we have an annual scholarship program, where we feel that they need motivation, because he's an urban child, and urban child get lure with other thing around them, and at times he get distracted. To motivate him for further education, so we initiated this program, that every year, if you are doing well and you want to so that you are earning, you have financial support also. So we have few people with us who give this annual scholarship, and we have a common exam for them, and that way we shortlist these children and they get that scholarship for annual time. So these are the name of those children also. Health and nutrition is very important, because over the years we realize this child is not able to concentrate well. At times this child is getting illness frequently. So every year we conduct a huge health camp, where everything is taken care, checkups are done, and then most of the time 80 to 90% children are anemic. They are not, the weight is not according to the age. So what we do, that rather than telling the parent in classes, we have every day the protein supplement and other vitamins or iron deficiency is taken care on in their regular and midday meals. There were other major impact was that children are closed with their emotional well-being. So we have a counselor with us. When the teacher identifies the child is not able to focus, then we have this mentoring and counseling is taken care by one of the professional expert. Yes. These are here we have some pictures for our like sports and health camp and that way. Yes. Most of the time it happens everywhere. What will happen after studies? Do we get job? What is the point of studying? So that way we thought, okay, while studying, it's better we do something hands-on learning also, because these children at times are not willing to study. It is only like coming and having fun and all that. So we just introduce some skills like cooking, gardening, stitching, basic electrical training, and skating, etc. in the skill development. Yeah. Sorry, my throat. Mala, you will take over. There's something happened to my throat.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So like you see skill development, we have a whole lot of options for the children. And it's not that everything is compulsory for them. They choose. But each one of these is for them to get the self-esteem. And so that maybe it is possible, because we start at a young age. Some of them may take it up as a profession and earn money from it. Like very nice, we can share with you Taekwondo. There's a girl who was learning Taekwondo at Naidisha. We've been teaching her for many years. She's been attending. Now she has joined back Naidisha as a coach, and she's teaching the other children. So she's earning while she's doing her undergrad course. And then rugby. Rugby is a sport that started about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And some of our children are now in the rugby teams, which are playing national games. And two of them even got selected for an international thing. And then we had a problem with their passports, so we couldn't send. We've had theater performances. And so, it just adds to the child's personality. And it also gives them, that confidence to be able to face the society, because they've come from a very difficult background. Yeah. So skill is a very important part of our education. So here you see now, if they are learning cooking, for example, and supposing they even go back to working at homes, um, if they know 3 or 4 cuisines, people will pay them more, and they'll, they can demand their salary. Unlike right now, they just take whatever they get. So now if they go and say, I know Thai, or I know Chinese, or I know this or that, and also nutrition, balancing of nutrition, understanding, then cleanliness, hygiene, all of that we add on. It's part of our course. Okay, so now if you see on the right, there is this electrical, he's learning how to just fix a fan. This is an electrician who's teaching down the girls. Just yesterday, we had to shift the refrigerator from one kitchen to the other. These girls set up the entire system themselves. So it is something, it's amazing. We couldn't even think of that earlier. And again, tabla, this is an online class going on. So we hope some of these children, because these are all skill based. Now, if you see gardening happening on top, this is happening on our rooftop. And the children are now growing these things in house. And so that excitement of seeing things grow, and that the understanding that you don't need a large farm to grow. And also, earlier they felt that because their parents were doing these work, they didn't want to do it themselves because they thought it's below, so they wanted to be above, they wanted to be in an office and, things like that. But actually that's far from reality. It's very, very difficult for them. So now that interest is coming back. They understand that they can also earn from it. Here you see other classes are happening. That's rugby going on, skating. Some of our children are now in skating and winning a lot of prizes. And that's a theater workshop we had. And then this play was put up, very, very well received across different schools and different theaters. It was very nice. Yeah, next one. So all of this, you see, it's for the holistic education that Sangeeta said. We don't think that just A, B, C, D or letters are just going to get them anywhere. I think we see this with our own children, graduate, postgraduate, whatever you may do. You have a skill, or you even have that ability to communicate or stand confidently. You're unable to really get anything. Okay, then we, like Sangeeta mentioned, that we moved to a women's empowerment because we found that the mothers were coming and they also wanted to learn. So we started stitching classes. This is through another Rotary in Delhi, and they have sponsored the machines and they also sponsored the teacher's salary. And so there's a proper course that these ladies learn, and then they have a test, or then they get a certificate, and they're even helped by giving, they can buy the machine at half rate. Rotary helps them with all of that. I think they give in the rest of it. And this has been very successful also. Then we teach them a lot of handwork, handicraft things, which so they can work in export houses. And so they work from home, bring the stuff to Naidisha or wherever else they can. And very recently, we started the last one, which reads as Saksharta. Saksharta means basic education. So this is a very recent thing where there was a huge demand for the ladies to learn to study. So we've just started this program, and it started slow. We have about, I think, 6 or 7. Let's hope it takes up. I'm sure it will as we go along. Yeah. But along with this, so here you can see the ladies are working and learning. And the center picture is the one where they've started the Saksharta class. So this has been one of the ladies, which we must say, has joined Naidisha as a crochet teacher. And it was in one of the pictures earlier. He's teaching. So they feel very happy when they get a check, as a salary, rather than they have to go and do sweeping and swabbing in houses. And suddenly she felt that feeling that I can also do it. It was an amazing thing. So she had to go to the bank to encash a check. So it was a very nice thing. Yeah. And yeah, community outreach. This is something we think is very important because through the child and through the family, we try and reach out to the community. And it's very important if the child changes, then the family changes, the community will. So we started, we very worked on Swachhta, which was our Prime Minister's big thing started some time ago, 2 years back. Of course, personal hygiene, we keep talking to them and we have the health camps. So there's a lot of input over there. But we also speak about the environment. So we go, actually, the teachers go out into the community. Okay, now, yeah, we can go to the next one. I'll just show you the picture. So this, when we went to this building where we are right now, this was this, it was like a dump yard, like a landfill. It was horrible. There were dead animals and they were really horrible, unsafe completely. And if you see on the right, that's where we cleaned up and we got some professional people to teach them permaculture, you know, how to do with natural thing. And now at the bottom picture, we're having an assembly over there, that same area. So that's how we reached out to the communities. Now it's a park where the community children are coming to play. Now they have taken the ownership to keep it clean. So which is a very good thing. Otherwise, it was just first picture of the last picture. Yeah. And the previous, if you can go to the
Okay.
previous slide. Yeah, and this is how yeah. So then the health and awareness. Is that mine? Is that disturbance
Sorry.
in mine? No. Okay. Okay, then there's that health and awareness. Of course, we went through this. We went in and we the children actually went with kind of placards to explain about all mosquitoes and dirt and all of that to keep their environment clean, keep their homes clean, not to clean their homes and throw things out of the house onto the roads. So it's a whole process that one has to explain to them and keep at it as well. And if you see the next picture, yeah, this is
This one?
when we,
Okay.
yeah, we see we planted trees in that same, we cleaned the area, we planted trees. And there you can see the trees are actually now, uh, they're coming up. So it's a real pleasure to watch that. Yeah. And yeah, next. Okay, this is also a very interesting thing. This you might have heard about it. This is, where we have put, it's called hole in the wall, where we have put a computer which is on the wall facing outside. So from the community, we have children and we have ladies, we have men. They can come and actually play around with the computer. So they get familiar with the keypad, they get familiar with what's happening. So there are a lot of small games, there are learning, little learning programs and things. So this is very effective because it kind of, so the child is sitting and playing in the mud or just going and, maybe drinking or whatever, doing unproductive things. We have a line of students outside waiting to have their turn to actually have a go at the computers. So eventually we all know that without computers, you really don't get good jobs. Even your phone is actually a computer. So if they can figure out how to, search, how to do things, it's very interesting. So I think we have a picture, we'll show you that. And the eco-brick activity is another this is for our environment. So this we try our best to explain to the children about plastic waste. Of course, as much as we can, we tell them to reduce, reuse, all of that. But eventually, there is a huge dump of plastic that is being created in the environment. So this is very interesting. We take the plastic bottles, then we stuff it inside with plastic, waste plastic, which means just packets of chips, packets of anything, biscuit packets, bread packets, and they're stuffed tightly in it. And then they're turned into bricks. They're called eco bricks. And then they're used for construction. I think if we go to the next slide, you'll be able to see it. Can you see that bench there? So that is made of plastic bottles, which have been stuffed with plastic, and it's been made into a bench which is used to sit on the right side top. So the
Yeah.
children left side are making the eco bricks with all the plastic. They're stuffing it in. And on the right side, if you see, the bench has been made. And
Wow.
like that, we can make a wall. Of course, it doesn't take weight. We have seen buildings as well being made of single stories, but we are planning to make a wall like this around the park in front that has been created. Okay, so this helps the environment. So the children are getting conscious of it. The people around are getting conscious of it. Okay, so the community has understood around as well. So the rack pickers and all, we are telling them do this instead of just throwing everything out. At the bottom you can see that's the E, what we saw, hole in the wall it's called. So that's the computer outside our thing. And these are all community children. See how they are playing, they're so excited about. So it's very safe and it doesn't damage the computer at all. It's been made in a very nice way. In fact, we found some mothers have to drag their children away because they love it over there. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. The next one, please. Yeah. Okay. Now, Chaya project. This is called Chaya. Okay. Chaya means under my care. Okay. So, what we found, a lot of our children were dropping out of schools because of personal financial issues. Sometimes, and mostly 90%, the fathers are alcoholics and the mothers are single owner, bread earners, and it's very tough on them. So we found they were dropping out. So we started this project wherein a lot of our friends joined in also, wherein we help with rent or rations or the bus fee of the child coming to, because if they are small, they can't walk far, tuition fee, if we are unable to give them, some subjects, if they are older children, we can't give each child one subject in Naidisha, so they can learn. Uniform, shoes, bags, and especially now, this is our new thing, we are supporting them in higher education. So we have some kids in undergrad courses. We have one girl who's doing nursing. We have a child who's joined IIT, which is a huge thing for us, very, very big success story. So now we're helping them with tuition fees for higher education. There's just recently a girl who's finished her undergrad and now she wants to do post-grad with bachelor's in education, B.Ed. So that she's just joined, and these are in lakhs, the money. So it's difficult for them to put in. So we look for sponsors, we look for like-minded people, and they join. So this is called the Chaya project, just so that they don't drop out of school. Okay, because these are very, very dire, and of course these are our happy children at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
These are our what do you say, inspiration to do whatever we are doing.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. And what we can show you is the next video, PPT, which is what happened the last year, pandemic year, because this is what we do generally. Yeah.
Kamala, I'll let you try and share if you want, and if you don't, I'm happy to pull it up, but that might be easier for you.
Okay.
So.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, we can see it now. Perfect. Oops.
Mala's muted.
Yeah. Mala, you muted? Yeah, Mala, you're muted. If you would unmute yourself.
Sorry, I'm also trying to get the right one in. The
Okay,
older
no
one
problem.
is coming. Yeah, just
I can figure it out if you.
It's come.
You got it?
It's come. Yeah.
Yeah. Ration. Yeah, this is it.
That's the one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just do it manually. Okay. So, okay, I must tell you what Nai Disha means to all. Nai Disha means new direction. Nai is new and Disha is direction. Okay. So we hope that the children get a new direction in their lives. Okay. So we have to stop. Right. So this is the awareness sessions about the pandemic right in the beginning. This was before lockdown. So this was about March last year. Yeah, so we had this community, you can see, we worked with the community. We explained to them what to do, wear mask, all of those things. At that time, it wasn't so bad. It was just the beginning. That's why you're seeing them in crowds. But later on, yeah, next. Okay. Then we had to give, like we explained to you, there was a lot of migrants, they went back to their villages. So it was very, very disastrous for them. Okay. Sorry, it keeps moving, so I'll have to just keep going back. So they were leaving town, bag and baggage. They had nothing. So we were trying our best to tell them to stay on. And the ones who stayed didn't have any money or rations. So we did help them. We had a program called Feed the Needy. So we raised funds online, and so we gave rations depending on each family. Some needed maybe every 2 weeks, some needed once a month, depending on the size of the family. And of course, you can see they came with social distancing, and each one came separately. So we ran this program initially for 3 months. We were giving regularly to most of our students. And then after that, as and when and whoever needed, because slowly some were coming back to their jobs and things. So yeah, but this is still an ongoing thing. We're still helping them if they need. Okay, then we got the women empowerment ladies. We got them, they are working in their own houses, some of them, and some of them came to Naidisha when the lockdown finished. And they made masks, which we distributed free to the community, so that they could, if they can't afford to buy, it shouldn't be that they get sick. So this is that production work going on. We also gave to the government, the local counselor, we gave him some. We also sent some to a hospital, Maulana Azad Hospital, where they distributed to the patients. So we managed to sell it to everybody. We gave like almost, I think, how many, Sangeeta? Maybe about a couple of thousand. Yeah.
Yeah, more than 1,000. Yeah.
A couple of thousands. Okay. So here you can see masks being distributed outside, and then all of them wearing, there's a rickshaw puller and the cook and all different children wearing masks. Yeah, it was very important. Okay. Then after that, so the children were very affected during this whole process. And the doctors told us that they need to have some educational kit, a learning kit, because they were literally stuck in their little, I would say 8 feet by 8 feet room, where there are maybe 5 to 6 family members. They couldn't go out because of lockdown. So they had nothing to do, no TV. Maybe some of them had TV. So it was very, very difficult time. So we put together a learning kit. So we actually put some games together, basic games like Ludo and, Uno and and then we put together some coloring, drawing kits and some basic education kits. And then we put together a health kit, which was a lot of protein-based food, which is these grams, the thick grams like rajma and chana and, all of those, because the doctors told us we need to give them high protein. And we also had, I think some books were given. And so plus some toothpaste and things like that, oral hygiene stuff. So this is when we gave monthly kits to children. And they came, of course, in gaps of maybe 10 minutes each, and they came and picked up their kits. So this we continued for almost another 6 months, I think, Sangeeta, up till I think November or December, we kept doing this. Then slowly we went on to digital learning, which was a very slow process. I'll explain that too. And this is, of course, same kits, but without the books and all. We gave to the women empowerment team. And okay, this was interesting. This was during lockdown. The children shared with us what they did. So during entire lockdown, what we did was each teacher was calling the child every week or 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Every week.
Every week.
And yeah, just making sure that physically, mentally, emotionally, these children are fine. Because they, like I said, they were cooped up in these little places. So they were encouraging them to do things at home and share with us. So this is when, all the skills came out, the hidden talents. And then you see now all the children, different things they are doing. I think there's someone has made this hanging, someone's done cooking, so all of that. So this was very nice. This was during lockdown. Okay, right. Okay, then we found now how do we get back to education after this whole thing. Now we were kind of racking our brains what to do, because our teachers as well as our students did not have the digital media to be able to handle this pandemic. So we came up with this, whatever old computers we can, a lot of people were buying new computers because everyone was working from home. So we requested everyone to give us their old laptops, give us their old phones, and we kind of upgraded them. And we started giving them to our senior students first, because they had started their classes online in their schools. And then we started giving phones to all our students who study with us. And very slowly, it was a really long process. It took us months to get over, but the teachers also started understanding how to record a very small class. It cannot be long, where the child's attention is there. The child is able to work and take a picture, send back what they've done, so the teacher can correct it and send it back. Then the issue of the children not having, maybe have one phone at home with all of them used, the parents are using, the father takes away the phone. So then we had to work on different timings so that they could come and study as per their time. Somebody would do it at night, somebody in the morning. So it was a real challenge that we had to go through. Sangeeta, you want to add on to that?
No, yeah, we created WhatsApp groups. Like we just did WhatsApp groups so that teacher can send the voice message and children can respond and work according to when the child gets phone. And there was another challenge because there was no Wi-Fi connectivity. So they have to have those data cards, and at times even they don't have that money to even charge those data cards. So while working only, we came to know what all is needed there. Even we were not aware of it. So that way we just kept adding things to just make it, this digital learning, little successful. I would not say that it is completely successful, but yeah, we are just working on it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Malam.
Yes. Okay. So this was the transition, which was a very difficult thing to do. Very steep learning for everyone, all of us included. Yeah. And this is the children are studying at home, uploading, sending back, the teacher is teaching. Yeah. Okay, this was another program we started, mentoring sessions during this time, wherein we got, here, the two girls are being mentored by, so you can see over there, okay. So what we did in this was, we got like-minded friends to become mentors to some of these children who really needed help. And so they were kind of meeting online once a week, and they were supporting them again in teaching, education. This was a second level. The first level the teacher was doing, and then some of the children were being identified who needed more help. So it was a level 2 where we got our friends involved to help each child. And so they are still continuing. But eventually what happened was they all went into studies more than the emotional and mental, which is fine. They needed help with the education. So this again, we are still working on. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I would just like to add here, shall I? Yeah.
Yes.
It is normally for if our children are at home, we get so much of material online. There are like Byju's, Khan Academy and everything. So you can get, but for these children, it's not appropriate because these children are having huge learning gaps. So the material which is already online is very high level. So they are not at that level. So it was really here in Nai Disha, this pandemic, COVID gave us an opportunity to work more on digital learning. So now we are working with one of our friend in abroad, and he's helping us that self-paced learning module, so that we are uploading, the teacher is recording lessons or at times voiceover on the content, And so the child on his or her pace can learn and then give assessment. So it's just we are designing particularly for these open school children, the children who are having huge learning gap. When I'm saying huge learning gap, it will be very hard for you to understand that if a child is 12 or 14 years, but his learning level is class 1 and 2. So now you can imagine how to cover up that gap, so that it's very hard to come to age appropriate gap. So here in Nai Disha, in our open school program, a 17 or 18-year-old is giving exam of class 8, and then 10th. Slowly and steadily he is moving. So it is really a very challenge, especially in this pandemic, because the children, they don't understand teaching online. Even you won't believe, for this child, what is teaching if the teacher is not writing on the blackboard, or the child is not copying. It is not studies. Just doing without these tools, the child feels we are not studying, nothing is happening. When we talk about democratic way of learning, when we talk about experiential learning, when we talk about learning by doing things, they feel it's fun time. But here, to change that mindset of the teacher first, and of that family also, that okay, this is also way we learn, these are the better ways. So it's quite challenging, but yeah, slowly and steadily we are just falling in line. And second other challenge, which in Nai Disha, is the children, even after 10th or 12th classes, are not getting jobs. They are not getting jobs. So here it's a gap that we need to think about. At times you won't believe, I feel, is there some idea, Mala, can we do something when we can create jobs, when we can make them learn on the job, because everywhere you need some expertise. Children at times lag behind due to their communication skills, due to their even the education wise also, because they are behind. And when they are in the city, they are looking at our children, our background. They want to have that smartphone. They want to have job where they go and sit on the chair in comfortable room. They want those jobs. They don't want to have work otherwise, because they feel otherwise, what is the point of studies if I have to still work in household or cleaning or sweeping or car cleaning, all that. So it's very difficult. So I feel it's just a drop in the ocean. So that way we are just trying. And
Yeah, there's
I
a
think,
huge
Mala,
gap.
anything? Yeah.
There's a huge gap between expectation and reality. And that
Right, right.
reality check, yeah. So that's the gap which Ranjit you had offered, which really makes a lot of sense to us, because we find even the children, like Sangeeta said, even if they finish class 12, they actually are nowhere. We have sent them. We have a very nice person, he's in the US only. He has a company here, and he's helping us with our computer program and the computer lab and everything. So we have sent our children there, but in spite of him being so empathetic about Nai Disha, he's unable to take all the children because of the lack of spoken English and lack
Right.
of communication skills. And
Sure,
that's a
sure.
huge gap which you were talking about. Yeah.
Sure. At this point, let's go ahead and take some questions from the audience, if you don't mind.
Yes.
If you have a question, if you
Yes.
don't mind raising your voice, raising your hand, but and asking a question. So if anyone has a question, please go ahead and raise your hand and I will recognize you. I'll go ahead till we get the first question. Can you give us some perspective on the families? You talked about them being migrant laborers. What kind of daily wage do they make? What are their fallback when they are not working? So what are their safety nets? All that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, Sangeeta?
Shall I take here, Mala?
Yes.
When we say migrants, so we are in Vasant Kunj. It's in a part of Delhi where lots of apartments are there. It's all like apartments. So all these mothers are housemaids. So they work as a housemates, and the fathers are working either as a gardener. Most of them are gardeners, or in some office or driver. driver is a quite better off job, I would say. Or in cleaning some in offices as a peon and all those. So they are working like that. But initially when they are migrating from their and most of them are from Calcutta, they are like um,
Bihar, Bengal.
Muslims, Bengal, and there the poverty is too much. So when they are coming here, like only the father is earning as a painter, maybe as a daily laborer only in construction sites. And then the mother comes and she starts working in households. That time, if the child, she has 3 or 4 children, so maybe the only older child is going to school and younger one is at home. Siblings are taking care of each other. So,
I think
and
he's
rental is
asking
very,
high rental. Yeah. No, total
yeah,
income.
so
I think that's
rental is too much. Like if I'm earning per month 10 to 12,000 rupees, so my more 60% of income is going in the rent and the electricity bill. I left with my 40% where I have to take care of at least 4 to 5 members of my family.
Okay. And that
So
4,000 is
that
roughly $50 a month, just to give you perspective.
Yes.
So $50 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Quanta has a question. Quanta, if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. I think it's wonderful that the children are provided the opportunities for higher education. I don't know how long this program has been in place, but I was wondering what is the rate of upward mobility for these children? Number one. And number two, what happens to, I mean, are they sort of, when they are providing labor for the products that they help to produce, are they being compensated so that they can also help their families? Thank you.
Yes.
Mala, you will take this? Yeah.
Okay. So, so the first question was about their higher education and what is the percentage that goes into it? Is that did I understand that correctly?
Their upward mobility in terms of economic advancement.
Right. So right now, our children are just about at that age where they are going into higher education. And some of them, I think very few, are able to earn, I would say, with dignity. I will not say very high income, no, but at least there's a dignity, there is a kind of self esteem, there's a kind of surety. They feel like if a person may earn, maybe sweeping and swapping may earn about maybe 10,000, while someone who we've been able to place in some of the offices would be earning about, say, 15,000 or around that much. But the sense of the feeling of achievement is huge. So that itself, and there is a career path. We always try our best that the children, wherever they join, there is an option to grow further. Okay. So, but they are all at that beginning stage right now. So we can't really say till we've gone a few years ahead and we'll have a better picture, but for sure, but the percentage is very small right now because like Sangeeta explained, there's a huge gap in what they expect and what the real life is, so if they are not able to just getting a certificate of class 10 is not enough. You need a whole lot of like communication, like spoken English, like computer proficiency, like all of those things that needs to be there too. And sorry, your second question was about the women, whether we are compensating them for what they're doing.
My question was, you have answered in a way. If the children are producing something for an organization or for business, are they then just compensated so that they can help their families? Because you said they are making only enough money to pay for their rent and maybe buy food.
Right. So we do not encourage child labor at all. We do not have children doing any work where they need to earn, because it goes against, So what we do is that the women are earning. The women empowers, so their mothers will come and earn with us. The children are learning. When they cross 17 or 18, they will go out and work. Yes, then they will get compensated. But we do not give any work to underage children. No.
Okay.
But
Any
here
other
we can
questions?
add. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead,
Sorry.
Sangeeta. Go ahead.
No, I'm just adding,
No,
like,
no, no.
suppose the way Mala said that there was a girl, Seema, who reached to Taekwondo at level and now is above 18 and is teaching other children. So we are paying that girl as a salary per month. So
Sure,
she's
sure,
earning it and
Okay.
contributing in her family income that way. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Have additional questions. We have one last question before we wrap up. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up the meeting. And first, we'd like to make a donation so for 7,500 rupees to Naidisha, and we'll be working on some projects to try and help these kids find jobs. That's going to be our charge. But with that, we're going to wrap up. And thank you so much for being here. Really interesting and amazing speech and amazing work that you all are doing. These 750 kids are really, they're changing their lives in ways that nobody else can. So thank you so much. And of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Fifth, will it be fun?
And then please remember, next Friday, another speaker from India. This is Mr. Ramchandra Guha, who's written about Gandhi and the freedom fighting movement in India. Is a very well respected author.